Episode 26, Winded City Countdown. We're ready to talk some sports and other things, and I'm joined with Ben Russo and Matt Urich tonight. Ben, I know you're not involved really. You're just a spectator, but you're closer to the situation than us. What is greater, the number of episodes of Winded City Countdown we've done so far, or the days until the cousin becomes a father?
Uh, well, the
Ben's doing math, and math
got to
is hard.
be closer to the due date than. Yeah,
When's the
I
due
want to
date?
say it's the end of May. I want to say it's like the.
Oh,
They're
it's
probably gonna
definitely.
get
It's
to it.
definitely.
25th, 26th, something like that.
Okay, then it's definitely because today is the 9th. So that's 17. We are on episode 26. So that's good. The cousin, how's he feeling? Is he excited?
Yeah. He's excited. I know his wife, obviously the one who's pregnant, not the cousin.
Wait, Joe isn't pregnant?
She's
That gut he has from time to time says otherwise.
the rumor has it that she's ready for it to be over. She kind of hit that month before, and I guess it's just like, okay, time for this thing to come out now. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, I know we're excited here at Winded City for that, and Matthew had some good stuff this weekend. He got to hang out with his niece, Olivia. Was that fun, Matthew?
That was last weekend, but yeah.
No, that was just this past weekend. That was 2 nights ago. You and I talked 2 nights ago, and you had to talk to me in your basement because she was upstairs.
Oh, yeah. See, I'm losing track of everything.
Yeah, I'm the idiot. I'm the one that knows when your frickin' niece is
You're
in
an
your house.
idiot, but
Jeez Louise.
Sorry.
No,
My-
you're not. Sorry, not sorry. How about that?
Sorry. All right, I'll just say, Scott, you know more than all of us.
That's right, I do. It's
Because-
it's about time.
Because Billy Donovan's the most important player in the NBA playoffs.
He really is. By the way, one more baby shout out here. I don't know if you guys saw it on the Facebook this morning, but
Brian Grant.
Yeah, listener
Oh.
Brian Grant, friend from college, friend of the show.
Double trouble.
Oh my God. I'll tell you, I know I've talked to Ben about this for sure, and I think, Matt, you've kind of heard the conversations, but Ben and I are both one and done, right? Ben, you're still firmly in that camp, one and done with the kids?
Well,
Yeah, he kind of has
based
to.
on the surgery there, Scott.
Totally forgot about that just now. I'm an idiot again. Awesome.
In case anyone wants to know, I had both my testicles removed, so
So
just kidding.
Ben and I are firmly in the one. You guys were in the one baby camp before that, though.
Yeah.
And so Ben and I are firmly in the, but I've had these moments where I've wavered, man, maybe it wouldn't be so bad. Sebastian's getting a little older. By the time a second baby got here, he'd be able to maybe handle himself a little bit more. And then I saw Brian Grant's post this morning that he's going to be a father of 3 when he's currently only a father of 1. And I looked at that post, and I came downstairs, I looked at Katie, I said, this is why we're not having another kid. Because
The worst part with that is you have the first kid, you go through the struggles with it, and then it's when you get the second kid, you're like, it's going to be hard, but at least I know what to expect. I mean, he's starting from ground zero again.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know what to expect. This is everything's going to be even harder. God bless him. God bless him.
You know what?
Good luck, Brian.
Him and Kelly are going to do great. I have no doubt. Their little boy Evan right now, he's adorable. So I know they're going to do awesomely. But yeah, I'm not going to lie, Brian. I don't envy your situation going from 2 to 3. And what's really funny? I was watching The Friends the other day, and Ben, I don't know if you remember this one where Phoebe's brother brings the triplets to the coffee house, and they're 4 years old. And he just turns to Phoebe. She's like, "How's it going?" He's like, "I haven't slept in 4 years." And he's like, I can 2 I can handle, 2 I can hold in each arm, but the third one goes my area. I have no other hands to protect my area." And that's what Brian Grant has looking forward to him here. He's gonna have 2 babies in each arm. And little Evan, if he wants to take a shot at Brian's area, oh boy, gonna be hard. So. You know what? Best of luck, Brian. Friend of the show, listener of the show. Go get him. All right, let's get on to the business of sports now, which none of us are very good at, but enjoy watching and being old about. By the way, I played basketball this morning. First time since I've started playing basketball that I have
So you
felt
threw your
old.
back out?
No, so I had
Did you block a bunch of kids' shots?
No, I didn't block a bunch of kids' shots, but I did have a meeting this morning at 9:00. So we finished playing ball at about 8, and I ran home to shower before the meeting. And I'm sitting in the meeting, and I just couldn't even sit because my knees were just like so tight afterwards. So I was like walking around. I took some ibuprofen, but I turned to one of my coworkers. I go, "This is the first time since I've started playing morning basketball that I actually feel old." Like my knees just were like, "Dude, you're an idiot. You're 31 and trying to play basketball." So, so that's the extent of my sports playing. We got Matt Urich, All-Star, and Ben Russo. You've got a 2-year-old, so you're running around plenty as it is. So, props there. Let's talk about a big baby over in Washington. Since the theme of babies. Let's segue from babies into.
Look at you.
I know. I'm trying to do it all. Is it Tyler Rourke? Rourke, is that right?
Tanner Rourke.
Stupid name, anyways.
Local kid too.
He is from Wilmette, if I'm not mistaken.
Wilmington.
There you go. Doesn't matter. You know what? If he wants me to know who he is, don't sit here and cry that the Cubs walked Bryce Harper and hit him by a pitch in 12 straight at bats so that he couldn't do any damage. Because guess what? Dusty Baker still can't seem to manage his way out of a paper bag.
Well, how is he that bad? Like, honestly.
He's really not bad. He's just stubborn.
Well, yeah, like situationally stubborn, I guess is probably the best way to put it.
Like after your cleanup guy leaves 14 guys on base, you go back to the same lineup today with the hottest 5 hitter in baseball with in David Murphy or Daniel Murphy, whichever one it is.
Yeah.
I mean I don't get it, man. Like I just and honestly, like if you want to sit, you could sit here and all you want and say, "Oh, that's weak baseball or whatever." It's not though. It's called strategy, and you know what? You want Bryce Harper to be able to hit the ball. Put Daniel Murphy behind him. Put a guy who's not going to leave 14 men on base behind him. Right?
Well, it kind of goes back to our discussion last week about the unwritten rules in baseball, people, and Dusty Baker is one of those guys. Like he's the guy that wants that righty lefty, righty lefty, righty lefty. I mean, that's the only reason he doesn't have Daniel Murphy behind Bryce Harper, because he wants it to go lefty, righty, lefty. God forbid, you play the numbers and do it the smart way instead of just playing, what you think is a good matchup when it's really not.
Sure. and the thing that I thought was stupid is all the people that are saying, that Joe Madden's playing scared baseball. The thing that I don't get is, okay, you could say that that's playing quote-unquote scared baseball, but the fact that he is putting somebody on base, like that's just as scary, quote-unquote, as pitching to Harper. I mean, you're essentially putting a run on base every time. I mean, there's a risk at doing that. Obviously, it worked out in their favor because Zimmerman couldn't do anything, but that's just sort of the way it goes.
Yeah, I mean, and the only hit he had with a runner on base was when the ball went off of Brian's glove, and I don't know. I didn't think that was it. I felt like that was an error. But they gave him an RBI double for that, so whatever. But that was just me. I watched that and went, that's not really a. Not.
And like a lot of people had said too, like, look, Madden was there when the Angels played the Giants, years ago in the World Series. He was with the Angels at the time, and he saw what the Angels did with Bonds. Don't let him beat you. If the series dictates it, go with what the series dictates. Is he going to do it every time? Is he going to walk Bryce Harper every time they play each other? I doubt it, but who knows? I mean, if that strategy works, it works. I mean, it made sense, and I completely understood why they did it. I would much rather force Ryan Zimmerman to beat me than arguably the best player in baseball in Bryce Harper. So I applaud the way they went about it. They did what they had to do to win 4 games, and they had one hell of a. Was it 4 games against them, or was it 3?
It was 4. Yeah, and they went 7-0 on the week. Which,
in a week in which people were like, well, here we go. The Cubs are finally playing good teams. And you actually saw what they were able to do against a good team, against 2 good teams in Pittsburgh and Washington. So
yeah,
just keeps that team just keeps rolling.
Yeah, for sure. And my expectation was that they would go maybe 4-3, 5-2, and because that's against the good teams, that's what you expect. You expect to be just a little bit above 500, at least 500, and you beat up on the bad teams. That's what most teams do. So, Matt, what do you think of the bullpen's performance?
Well, particularly yesterday, I mean, to see what Trevor Cahill did, he came in, he pitched 3 innings, I think, in total?
Yeah, I believe so.
3 or 4, and then he goes out there and he gets a big, huge hit. And with what you got from Rondon and from Strop, I guess, earlier in the series and everything else, I mean, they were restricted yesterday. So to see, I was impressed with Cahill because I think he's a good fit in that bullpen, good fit for what Madden likes. He's versatile enough to come in and give you an inning, or he could go 3 like that yesterday. So.
And he starts the rally in the 7th there, which is even better. He gets the base hit that gets the whole thing going. Ben, overall, going forward, I mean, they're 24-6 now. Best record in Major League Baseball to start a season, or the National League since the '77 Dodgers. I mean, obviously, it doesn't mean that. Is it wrong? I was talking to my father-in-law the other day, and I said, we're quickly and dangerously getting into the territory of the regular season doesn't matter. I don't want to say they're there yet, but I mean, it's 7 games up. I mean, they're getting closer to that point where it's like, okay, just get us to October fast. What do you think about that idea?
I mean, I think at this point, that's the numbers say. I forget what it is off the top of my head. Was it 9? They have a 99.3% chance of making the playoffs right now.
Yeah, I believe that's right.
I mean, it's obviously a long season. I mean, obviously they're, I don't want to say they're 1 injury away because obviously they lost Schwarber, but I mean, God forbid, knock on wood, anything happens to Arrieta or even Lester for that matter. I mean, a team can make up 7 games easily over, the 130 or whatever they have left. Mm-hmm. So, I don't want to say that, but yeah, I mean, this certainly seems like a team that's on its way to the playoffs. With arguably just, I mean, it's the best team in baseball by a lot. They're the best in almost every category. It's one of those things where it's almost like it has that Blackhawks feeling where, obviously less the 3 championships, but it's just that, okay, let's just make it through the regular season without injury. I have no problem with Arrieta going 5 and 6 innings. Obviously when he wants to go a little bit deeper, that's fine, but just stay healthy the best you can. I mean, I think, you look at like the Montero injury. We don't know how severe it was, but I'm fine with like those DL stints. Like if somebody's got something wrong, just put them on the DL, let them get their time off. You have that. This is why you have the depth that you have.
And Fedorowicz, speaking of Montero, has not been bad I remember he came in, I was like, who the fuck's Fedorowicz? And then
he's probably your 5th best catcher in your organization because they could have brought up Contreras, but at this point, you still want him to get a little more experience.
Well, yeah, you want him pretty much catching every day, essentially, or 4 out of 5 days. So he's not going to do that up here. And the way that David Ross has played, I mean, he's been fine. He's been better than he's
like
having
a top 10 catcher in WAR, I think, right now.
Yeah, and his ability to throw people out is pretty crazy. How many times this year I think he's thrown out like 4 or 5 guys already, and maybe at least 1, maybe 2 at first base.
At least 2 at first base.
Yeah, and like
in like a 1 week span.
And
did they win the game on one of his putouts at first base?
That was last year.
Was that last year? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I could. It blurs together a little bit sometimes. I'm most impressed that right now you look at the run differentials by teams, and the Mets are 2nd at +44, and any other year looking at that going, that's pretty good. And the Cubs are more than double that right now at 102, a +102, which is just insane. And then over in the AL, your AL leader in run differential are the White Sox. And they have the 2nd best record in the league. Ben or Matt, did either of you get to take in any Sox baseball this weekend against the Twins?
I did.
I
watched.
saw a little bit Friday.
Yeah, I watched Fridays. Saturday we were pretty busy this weekend, so I didn't watch a ton of baseball in general. But
Yeah.
I did watch Fridays.
My dad got to take in the Sale game, so when my dad goes to a game and he's texting me and stuff, I tend to like throw the game on because I'm a little more, I like, I don't know, I root for my dad to like go to a good game because I'm like, hey, that'd be good for you, you'll enjoy that. And so he got to take in Chris Sale, and it just last year, that's 2-0 against the Twins with Sale on the mound, and that game ends 2-0, and Sale pitches like 7 or 8 innings, and they press the entire time to get that run and get 3 runs. And this week it was just, no, it's all right. We're just gonna do what we need to do here. We're good. We got this, and they did, and they swept the Twins this weekend, and they're looking good. They're up on the Rangers right now in the 7th, 2-1. Where are the Sox at, Ben, for you in terms of this season? What do we need to recalibrate? Because I know I had said in our preview that I thought if they started out slow, Robin Ventura could be canned within the first 25 games because of the upgrades they made or upgrades they thought they made and the amount of talent on the roster.
Yeah, I mean,
now we're way past that. So what now? What is the expectation, Ben?
Well, I mean, at this point, the expectation is to win the division. I think it has to be. I mean, you don't have this kind of start, you don't get this kind of pitching, and then be like, okay, well now I think we're contenders. I mean, you have a 5-game lead. It's May 9th only, obviously, but if I'm not mistaken, they threw a stat out, and I know it doesn't necessarily apply to this season, but at any point in the last 25 years, the Sox had at least a 4-game lead. They made the playoffs. I thought, or I read something like that.
Okay.
So, and obviously they have a 5-game lead right now. Obviously, a lot of division games. Cleveland's they're playing a little bit better as of late, whereas the rest of the division, other than the Sox and the Indians, are kind of faltering here. I think you win. I think winning the division is the goal. Obviously, it probably was their goal heading in. I said they'd compete for a playoff spot. I didn't have them in, obviously, but I said they'd compete. I think at this point, though, it's division or bust. I mean, obviously you're going to just want to make the playoffs, but with that pitching, man, it just goes back to as long as you stay healthy. Unfortunately, I don't think they have not many teams have a lineup like the Cubs, if any, where you can lose a major injury or lose a player to a major injury and they can fill that spot. But I mean, if they can stay healthy for the most part, there's no reason they can't be the best team in the American League, honestly, with that pitching staff the way they're rolling right now.
Yeah, Matt. I think you also, all three of us, Matt, if I'm not mistaken, had the Sox as a wild card. I mean, if they don't make the playoffs, what do you think? What happens to this team next year? Do you think there's big changes, or?
It's really tough to get a read on that, just because I mean we've even had we've had this discussion when it comes to the Bulls, because the way that Jerry Reinsdorf is so stuck with his guys and loves his guys, and I think he loves Robin, and I think he loves Robin because of what Robin was as a player. But we also saw the thing with Ozzie sort of wore thin after a while, but I don't think Robin has that same, obviously doesn't have that same sort of energy and sort of stuff that Ozzie had. I think if they fail to make the playoffs this year, you'd have to think Robin's gone, right? I mean, I think they still need help, and I think they still need some help in that starting rotation. They could probably use another bat in their lineup. But the way they've been playing, I mean, they've been rolling. I'm looking at it right now with Fangraphs. They're the fifth highest playoff probability with a 67%. But I do find it odd that the Indians at 15-13 have a higher. They're at 69.6%, and the White Sox are 22-10 are at a 67%.
Yeah, you get all those little oddities this early in the year. Like the Red Sox are half a game behind the Orioles,
and they're 78.9%. Yeah,
and the Orioles are 36.5. It is interesting. Thinking back to our preview, I'm looking at these standings, and I mean my Diamondbacks pick. I mean, I'm not saying it's a terrible pick at this point because they're only 2 games out of first place, but they are giving up a lot of runs. Like they're just doesn't. It's like, hey, we upgraded our pitching. You did? Doesn't look like it all of a sudden.
Well, I had the Yankees and the Blue Jays coming out of the East, and they currently hold the 4th and 5th spots in the American League East.
Amazing.
And I also had the Houston Astros, who are currently holding the last place spot in
The West.
In the West, yeah. So, not. Hey, but I got the Mariners.
You do, yeah. The Mariners are doing some work. Hey, and you know what? The Cardinals. My favorite thing right now with baseball is Deadspin. Every time the Cardinals lose, they post an article. The Cardinals lost their whatever game. So this morning was, the Cardinals lost their 16th game. I was like, yeah, they did. They did.
They're dead. Cardinals are dead.
I hope so.
They're not coming back from this.
Forever.
Not 9. Is that right? 9 back.
Yeah.
My God.
Yep.
God, that just feels so good.
And Pittsburgh lost today, so the Cubs are up 8 games.
I think 7.5.
No, it's 8.
Yeah, it's
Is it
8.
8 now?
Yeah,
Mhm.
the Cubs are up 7 in the win column, but 9 in the loss column. And
Yep, they're updated.
you look at every other division right now, though. The Orioles are up a half a game. The Mariners up a half a game. The Mets up a half a game. The Dodgers and Giants are tied and both have a 1-game lead on the Rockies. AL Central, 5-game lead for the White Sox. NL Central, 8-game lead for the Cubs already. So baseball's fun. Love baseball. Let's switch gears. The NBA playoffs did exactly the one thing that we talked about on the podcast, which was injuries and weird stuff could make it really not sure what's going to happen. I mean, Cleveland looks like a slam dunk at this point. Yeah. Do either of you doubt that Cleveland's going to the finals?
No, there's no doubt. I mean, and we said it all along. I mean, it wasn't anything. I don't think anybody really thought they were going to have a hard time, but I guess things can still happen along the way. But
I mean, I'm watching the Miami-Toronto game right now, and I'm just like, I can't imagine Miami going into the finals with a loss at this point. I really can't. And and what's even crazier is Miami could go into the finals 12-0.
Cleveland, you mean?
Yeah, Cleveland could go in the finals 12-0. Ben, do you even if Cleveland goes in 12-0, do you think they can win the NBA title? Or not? Can they? Obviously they can't. But will they win the NBA title?
Well, no, because I still think a healthy Warriors or. I mean, I think any of the top 3 teams in the West. Well, yeah, the top 3 teams in the West would beat them, but they're playing a lot better than I thought. They're making a lot. They're hitting a lot of shots, and if they can keep doing that, that's the question mark. Obviously, if they can keep doing that, I mean, it's almost to me it almost looks like they're basically practicing to play the Warriors. Like they want to get they're scoring way more points than I think anybody thought they would. I mean, how many times have they broken 110, 120 points? I mean, that's what you need to do to beat the Warriors. So it almost seems like they're preparing for that, which I think the series will be better if both teams are obviously completely healthy, specifically the Cavs after last year's NBA Finals. But yeah, I'll give them a chance. I don't think they will, but.
Matt, let's switch over to that Spurs Thunder series. It's now 2-2. Are you surprised by this?
Yes, I am. Honestly, I didn't think we would see it be this competitive. I like Oklahoma City. I like Durant. I like Russell Westbrook and stuff. But I just thought, you know how the Spurs are. It comes to this time of year, they flip that proverbial switch, so to speak, and then they just all of a sudden, dominate like they do. This has been a fun series so far. I've honestly not watched very much playoff basketball this year. Just hard to find the time, and the way it's worked out with my stuff with Bleacher Report and all that a couple weeks ago. So it's just been hard to kind of keep up. But the Spurs Thunder one has been one that I've watched a lot. So honestly, this one I wouldn't be that shocked if it goes 7. Just the way that the two teams have matched up so well so far. But I will say I am surprised that Oklahoma City has. I thought maybe they'd win 2 games. I mean, granted they won 2 so far. I guess things can happen. But like I said, I think this one ends up going 7.
Yeah, the big concern if you're a Spurs fan right now is it's a 3-game series, and if the Thunder can get one Russell game in those next 3 and one Durant game in those next 3, that bodes really, really, really well for them.
I mean, the
So
series could be 3-1 Thunder. I mean, that Game 3 loss was. I thought that was a gut punch for the Thunder. I mean, I really thought they were going to pull that one out, but
mhm.
I mean, to be 2-2. I mean, I think they have to be ecstatic, but I mean, it probably should be 3-1
Yeah,
in favor of the Thunder right now.
for sure. We don't have it on the countdown here for this week. NHL playoffs. You guys watching any of that?
No, I
Not
won't
really.
watch until- I probably won't watch until the Cup final.
Yeah,
Maybe they. Yeah, I won't even watch the Eastern Conference Finals because, I have no interest in watching the Lightning play. I'll maybe watch for the Capitals or the Penguins, but at this point it'll be the Stanley Cup. That's it for me.
well, it looks like San Jose is in a position to close out the West, one of the West semis tonight. Dallas is up 3-1 in a position to take that to a seventh game back in Dallas later this week. And then we have, I'll be honest with you, the Washington Capitals right now, I saw that series go to 3-1 against Pittsburgh, and I went, that feels a little 2013 Blackhawksy. The Hawks were down 3-1 to the Red Wings, and everyone's like, well, that'll happen, I suppose. And next thing you know, the Hawks, they win pretty handily in Game 5, and it'll be interesting to see what Washington brings to Pittsburgh in Game 6.
Yeah.
But
If Pittsburgh doesn't win Game 6, it's a Capitals will win.
Yeah.
Feels like whoever wins this game wins the series.
we'll see what happens there. And then finally, the Kentucky Derby ran, and Ben, I want to mention one of your tweets from the other day about the song. You hate the song.
Stupid, boring.
Why do you hate the song? I mean,
It's a bunch of
besides
drunk morons, just like they get their arms over each other's shoulders and they're swaying, mumbling some gibberish shit. I mean, and then the fact that they play the words at the bottom on TV, I think bothers me more than anything. Like they want
so
sing
you can
along
go out.
sing along at home. No,
Yeah.
thank you.
It's called, I believe, My Old Kentucky Home.
Yes, yeah.
It's an anti-slavery ballad.
Oh
Well, go. You feel like a jerk.
no, I don't need to sing a song to let people know I'm anti-slavery.
Oh, that's how it works. I'm sorry.
It was
Yeah.
originally written by Stephen Foster, probably composed in 1852. It was published as in January 1853 by Fifth Pond and Company of New York. He likely composed the song after having been inspired by the narrative of popular anti-slavery novelist Harriet Beecher Stowe's Uncle Tom's Cabin. So there you go. So that's the
Cool.
song. That is the song that we are, not we, but the people of Kentucky are singing before the Derby. So
All right.
Good
I
for them.
guess that's a thing. I too I didn't care for it. I thought it was, I was like, all right, let's get the song over with. So Nyquist, the favorite, he wins. Are we gonna get two Triple Crown winners back to back years after we went something like, what was it, 40 years almost between Triple Crown winners? Is that
Yeah.
happening?
I mean, I can't sit here and say it's going to happen, but I think I sent you guys a text like if Nyquist didn't win this, there wasn't going to be one. This is the only horse that has a chance to do it.
Right.
I mean, he's undefeated 8-8 in his races. He's never lost.
Yeah.
I'm a little mad at myself because remember, Scott, I told you there were 3 horses I bet. I bet Nyquist, I bet Danzig Candy, and then I was like, there's a third one that I read about that I liked, but I can't remember his name. Well, it was Exaggerator. So had I bet the Exacta, I would have won $300, but instead I won my, I think, $30 on Nyquist winning. So at least I have that.
You do. You
Right.
you will
Better than
always-
nothing.
for sure. It'll be interesting to see that. I will say though, did you guys see the Deadspin article this week about last year's Triple Crown? And I can't think of its name all of a sudden.
American Pharaoh.
American Pharaoh. About a day in the life of American Pharaoh.
He probably just has to, give his his horse juice away like nobody's business every
He
day.
does. It's an $80,000 fee to get your mare to.
Which that's not even that much. I think the most what did I say the horse's name was that had 3 offsprings in this race?
Oh, I can't.
Oh, it was a
Something
won-
Mo or Mo something.
he won
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Derby a couple years ago.
Yes.
Didn't he?
Yes, I know something Mo. You're right. I can't think of the name. And
Yeah, I
But-
believe it was 250,000 to get that horse's
Whoa.
juice.
so this is the best part, though. Is apparently American Pharoah is one of the greatest studs of all time. Like he has a ridiculous percentage of success that's unprecedented. So 3 years from now, you thought Uncle Mo or Shiny Mo or whatever.
Uncle Mo, there you go. That's
Uncle Mo, if you thought 3 from Uncle Mo was a big deal, we might have an entire Kentucky Derby field full of American Pharoah offspring because he is doing it at an unbelievable clip. So there you go.
Well, hey, props to him. You know,
I
his
think Knight
life
was
is good.
was one of the offsprings, no?
Of
Of Uncle Mo.
no, he was from I'll Have Another.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, look at that. Now I'm going to research all tonight about past Kentucky Derby winners to see whose juice got them some babies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
you
not-
could. Did you know you could go see American Pharoah? Like you go get your picture taken with him for $20.
What a gold mine it is to have a horse like
Oh
that.
yeah.
By the way, I'm sorry. It is $200,000 for the privilege. He does his thing with the mare, enjoys a nice grooming session, greets a steady parade of fans, 25 a visit.
Oh, 25. Sorry.
He eats a lunch of bran mash, and sometime in the afternoon, he gets with another mare. He's a
Twice a
natural.
day.
He is a
Nice.
natural. He has successfully impregnated his mares 80 times out of 100 tries.
Wow, good for him.
So
I'm 1 for 1, but I'm not going to brag.
oh my God, so the owner of American Pharoah is getting $200,000. So every 5 is $1 million. So I mean that
And he's done it 100 times.
So $20 million just for your horse to have sex with another horse.
Legalized prostitution.
I mean, my dear Lord.
All right,
Where's
we
the-
gotta get in the horse business.
I was gonna say we're the wrong racket, boys.
Hey, man, you want to go to a donkey show?
You know, we went down to Tijuana last weekend. All right. Closing thoughts here on the weekly. Matthew, any closing thoughts?
Go Cubs.
Go Cubs. Ben?
Should have gotten the horse business.
I agree. I don't really have a closing thought, but I will say that Seinfeld, the show about nothing, we kind of feel like we're in an area of sports with nothing now that this feels like nothing for us right now because the Hawks are out and we're not really used to that in these parts. So because we're not really into anything right now except the Cubs, we're going to talk about the show about nothing. So you can check for that podcast later this week. You can follow us on Twitter at Winded City CD. You could email us if you wanted at windedcitycountdown@gmail.com. You could, what else could you do? You could subscribe on iTunes. You could look for Matt Urich on Bleacher Report. You could,
You can follow all of us on Twitter, our own accounts.
yeah, so lots of ways to interact with us. So be sure to do that. Tell your friends. We would love to have lots of listeners because we have a decent amount right now. We're really excited. So, anyways, for Ben Russo and Matt Urich, I'm Scott Sternal. Thank you for listening and have a great rest of your week.